It must be 3 a.m. and I'm dreaming. Yeah, I know, a little cliche to make a Rob Thompson joke about Rob Thompson. Phillies lose game one to the Braves. Yippee-ki-yay. We're going to talk about it. Eagles offense. How dangerous, how scary can the Eagles offense be in 2024? Could it be one of the best of all time? I don't know. We're going to talk about that as well. Plus, whatever else comes up in the agenda today, trending in the AM. We are live, taking all your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You know the drill. Wherever you're watching, whichever platform you are watching on, make sure you do what you can do on that platform, liking it, sharing it, subscribing, following. Whatever the rules are on that platform, please, I ask you, take care of it, do what you can, and help get this show in as front of as many people as possible. I greatly, greatly appreciate the effort there from you guys as I put in the effort every morning here to come to you live, 8 a.m. for 90 minutes of sports talk, whatever you want to talk about, the only show where your opinions matter. I'm Phil Stiefel. You can find me at Bearded Knowledge on all social media platforms. And guys, we're talking Phillies and we're talking Eagles again today. Just like yesterday. We're just going to put different spins on it. Phillies lose game one to the Braves last night. Yes, the players stunk last night. Yes, Rob Thompson's management sucked last night. When does it end? Where does it end? I don't know. But if we don't get this ship right with all the ship with a P, just so you know, right, we ain't going to be in the division lead much longer. Just going to say Eagles. Today will actually be the last practice of training camp for the Eagles. They made some scheduling changes, so today's it. And I'm going to ask you a very simple Eagles question. How scary can the Eagles offense actually be in 2024? And I got the top 3 offenses of all time for the Eagles written down here, and we're going to discuss it. How good can the offense really, really, really be? And I think it's potentially super crazy how good they could be. Yes, Eagles fans, they lost. This was from last night. He was commenting this. Good morning, Duck. How you doing? Hope you're well this morning. Go get Hector Neris. I know Hector Neris was just released, and he's got a sub-4 ERA. Hector Neris, to me, Rick, is like one of the – it's the same conversation that we have about Jalen Mills. We hated him when he was here. He left. Did pretty well in Houston, Hector Neris. Has bounced around, has pitched well. We need him, or we need somebody, but yet everyone's going to say it's a nostalgic act, and that's why you want him. It's not, because the nostalgia wasn't great when he was here all the time. Our bullpen is leaking oil pretty regularly, and Jose Alvarado doesn't have any oil left to leak at this point. Sign Neris and get Alvarado. You can't just send him to the minors. I don't think he has any more options to demote him. So you'd have to put him on waivers, which someone would pick him up. But look, Jose Alvarado is a disaster right now. Complete and total disaster. And I blame Rob Thompson this is just like a Craig Kimbrell situation. You got a pitcher that don't have his stuff anymore, and you're going to go out there and throw him into the 8th inning of a 1-run game and let him walk 4 batters out of 6 batters he faced. You're going to let him walk 4. What in the holy hell are you doing, Rob Thomson? It's 3 a.m. and I'm not dreaming. I'm awake, and I see what no one else will see. No words now about this Phillies team. Fire Kevin Long. What's Kevin Long going to do? Firing Kevin Long. What's that going to do? Rob Thompson's still going to make bad decisions. We're going to ride out with what we got this year. And again, back to the conversation from yesterday, John Middleton's comments, if this does not end, probably in my opinion, with a World Series appearance, Rob Thompson's gone, Kevin Long's gone, Kelly Cotham's gone, everybody gone. Maybe even Dave Dombrowski. That's even possible. Phil thought you were going to the stop. No. I watched like 3 minutes of it last night while the wife was feeding the dogs, man. Oh, whether it's the RNC or the DNC, both those things are just such a waste of time and such a waste of money. And it drives me freaking nuts. Absolutely. The offense played terrible. I mean, Zack Wheeler pitched a good game, not a great game, giving up a couple runs. But when Schwarber, Turner, and Harper, your 3 top hitters, are combined 0 for 12 with 7 strikeouts, Schwarber strikes out 4 times, Harper strikes out 3, that ain't helping. But somebody's got to step up. If they're going to sleep, somebody else had to wake up and do something. Nobody did anything. And aren't we glad Rob Thomson gave Bryce Harper that full day off on Sunday? Ah, good job, Rob. Because now Bryce Harper's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. So, what's your win-loss prediction for our Birds? I predict 11-6. Now, Davey, I don't give out my official win-loss prediction till the Monday before the season starts. So that will be what? The first game's on what? September 6th? Like September 1st? That's when I'll give out the official prediction, Davey. But I have been working on that prediction. I've been working on my prediction for all the NFL teams. That'll come out next week, minus the Eagles record. But looking at the schedule, ballparking it, I'm right around 11 wins like you. 1-1, 2-1, 5-2. I see 3, 4, 5. I see approximately 5 losses on the schedule, maybe 6, depending on how. That's with my confidence high right now, because the confidence is and should be high for the Eagles right now with all the reports coming out of camp. How? Just think about it. Have you seen or read or heard one bad report about Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, the offense as a whole? No. That first-string offense seems to have a complete and total grasp of Kellen Moore's system and style and what he wants to do. They are dominating the ones, hands down, all practice long, all camp long. And on a side note, Nick Sirianni will talk today, and I'm sure we'll get an answer on why from him today. But today and tomorrow were supposed to be the last 2 training camp practices for the Eagles. They've decided to turn tomorrow's into just a walkthrough. So today's the last full practice, maybe because guys are getting banged up. Today's the last practice. Tomorrow will be a walkthrough. Friday day off, Saturday preseason game. Then the cuts start to roll in. That's the schedule. By the time Monday gets here next week, we might already have some cuts to start talking about. But, that's how that's going to play out. I'll be curious to see if Rob Thomson just says, look, these guys have been practicing real hard. They're looking good. We're ready to roll. We're ready to get into regular season mode of practice. Maybe that's what's his thought process there. Rojas and Marsh automatic. Rojas has been better in the last 2 weeks overall. But Rojas can't come up with a big hit in a big moment. That's for sure. Good morning, John. How you doing this morning? Hope you're well. Phil, Hector isn't the answer. I don't have any answer. Yeah, exactly. So Hector Neris might not be an answer, John. but Hector Neris may be an answer. Jose Alvarado is definitely not the answer. So I don't think it's imperative you go get Hector Neris, but I also think it's kind of silly if you don't at least think about it, because the bullpen is leaking oil. Jose Alvarado is completely shot. Jose Alvarado is where Sir Anthony Dominguez was last year right now. Unusable. I can't wait for it to start. I can't wait for the regular season to start too. So I'm not on the edge of my seat on every practice, every banged up player. Like yesterday, Saquon Barkley got banged up in practice. Early in practice, he went to the sideline. You could see trainers working on his back and his leg. He took a big hit from Jalen Carter, I think is what I read, or Jordan Davis. I think it was Jalen Carter. Every time in practice, Saquon Barkley gets hit, I just, if he's going to get hurt, he better get hurt in a regular season game, not in practice. But is there anything, I know this season it begins and ends with Jalen Hurts' success. But is there anything Eagles related this year that will keep your anxiety sky high more than Saquon Barkley's health? Every time he limps, every time he comes out for a play, is there anything that will make you stress out more than Saquon Barkley? I know Saquon Barkley is going to stress the living hell out of me all season long. Said this in mid-June. This team has not hit as a whole. It is Kevin Long's job to get these guys to play better at the plate. As far as discipline, they're not swinging at everything that's thrown. Yeah, I'm not trying to eliminate blame from Kevin Long, Mike. Definitely not. But when baseball teams struggle, people tend to first is to just blame the hitting coach. And I think it's a bigger picture than just the hitting coach. Eagles 11-6 regular season, 4-0. I like the 4-0 in the playoffs. I think 10-7, 11-6, 12-5 are all very realistic possibilities. I don't think they can win much more than 12. I think 11 probably is a fair number for the Eagles, but we'll get into the division later on this week. Maybe tomorrow we'll do an NFC East division conversation. In my opinion, they're locks to win the NFC East. We'll get to that tomorrow. What's up, K1? Good morning. Eagles 12-5 if defense shows up. I really like the direction of this team. Yeah, John, we've talked about this, and I know I say I want to talk offense today, but defense is also part of the offensive question, because I think the offense has to score at an all-time high, because I still have question marks on this defense and how the defense will, succeed or not succeed this year. Quinion Mitchell, is going to be a big part. He's a rookie. Devin White, Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, questions there. The defensive line, depth, there are a lot of questions on the defense. So 12-5 might be the max if the defense is perfect. I don't think the defense could be bad enough to fall much less than 10 wins. So we'll see. Trevor Keegan banged up. Trevor Keegan went down yesterday as well. I like Trevor Keegan. I like what I've seen there. I've got Trevor Keegan right now on my 53-man roster over Dylan McMahon. But, like everyone keeps getting banged up. Maybe they've pushed a little too hard this training camp, the Eagles. They've pushed harder than they have in years past. Maybe that's why they're going to take the foot off the pedal and eliminate one of the practices tomorrow. And today is basically that last long day of practice. Yeah, all our guards. Our whole offensive line. Mailata's the only guy that I think I've seen participate in every single practice. And I still have, PTSD from the 2020 offensive line and all the injuries and stuff like that. So, that's still fresh enough in my mind, Davey, that when I see all these guys get banged up every day, it's concerning. Now, luckily yesterday, Mekhi Becton was back for practice, so his injury last week in the preseason game obviously wasn't that serious. So that's a step in the right direction. Alvarado needs to go. I don't have any other words for him. Yeah, John, you're not wrong. And I blame Rob Thomson. You have a 2-1 game. It's the 8th inning, the bottom of the 8th inning. in a very, very important playoff seeding, division rankings, series as we're 6 weeks to the end of the season here. And you're going to throw your pitcher that is struggling more than anybody on your roster out there in the eighth inning. Why? Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to set the man up for failure? And 3 batters into that outing, you knew he didn't have his stuff. You let him go out there for 6 batters and walk 4 of them. That is on the manager as much as the player, because the player obviously needs to do better, but the player isn't doing better. So the manager got to yank him or not put him in that. Jose Alvarado should only be pitching in 10-1 games. Instead of throwing Garrett Stubbs out there, you should be throwing Alvarado to get work. That is it for Jose Alvarado, and that's on Rob Thomson. Strongly disagree with this, Davey. 10-7 wins you the division. And I'm going to do, maybe I'll start that tomorrow. Maybe I'll do if I've got I don't know if I'll have a lot of time tonight. We'll see. We'll predict the division records tomorrow. But I'm just going to give you a little tease. 10-7 wins you the NFC East. That's as honest and open as I can be. Ellis, Phillies do need, and this is the thing. What's so bad, Ellis, about last night's Phillies loss is now Mr. Aaronola goes tonight for the Phillies. Mr. Aaronola and the Phillies have to win tonight. 1,000% have to win tonight. And if they don't win tonight, Ellis, oh, man, Phillies are going to be in trouble. You shouldn't be making a game at this point in the season must win. I never thought we'd be at this point. But we're at the point, if they don't win tonight, now we're going to have to start. Now we're going to have a real serious question whether they can lose this division or not. Hey, Phil, you won't believe this, but I have some inside knowledge on Darryl. So K1, before you, I haven't seen your response to this. I don't know if you have yet or not. I'd love to hear it. But because of your sarcasm, I won't know if you're being truthful or not. That's the problem. Like, your track record, K1, is to make a lot of jokes. So whatever you say, I don't know. But put it in the comments. Let's see what your insider source knowledge on Daryl Morey, please, is. What's up, Joe? Good morning to you. You know these guys have their own hitting coach. Obviously, somebody has to take the hit. But I don't know if that. Yeah, I don't know if firing Kevin Long makes that big of a difference. But you're not making any changes at this point. We're what? I don't even know if we're 6 weeks. There might be 5 weeks left of the season, even at this point. No more changes are happening. You might bring in a Hector Neris. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. But there's a problem. And now you are in a must-win Aaron Nola situation tonight. My man Sal, the only man with a better beard than me. What's happening? Alvarado needs to be in low leverage innings. Yeah, he's the Garrett Stubbs 9th inning of a 10-run deficit game. And that's it. That's why I blame Rob Thomson for last night. Not because Bryce Harper went 0 for 4. Not because Schwarber or Turner both went 0 for 4. But because you put your players in a position to fail. That's what he did on Sunday by not pinch hitting. And that's what he did last night by putting Alvarado in a situation he obviously is not prepared to do. Everyone says the manager plays a little role in baseball. Well, one of their roles is putting their players in a position to succeed by making the right decisions. And Rob Thomson does not do that, Sal. And he doesn't do that on a regular basis. 10-7 usually is on the edge of the playoffs for the last few seasons. Yes, unless it's a division. And I don't have much faith in the Eagles division outside of the Eagles. And you'll be surprised on what I do there. They might, Davey. Daryl Morey was in St. Louis watching the Cup chess tournament. His interview, what? The Sinquefield Field Cup chess tournament. His hold on a second. I got to put the follow up here. Just Google exclusive Sixers loves watching the best in chess. See now with the sarcasm that I know for you, if I Google search that, is that going to take me to some like dark web website page and my computer's going to be fried and my identity stolen in like 2 seconds? Is that what you're trying to get me to do? Hey, I'm gonna look into this. I am. I'm gonna write it down. See, I'm writing it down in my notes. Daryl Morey chess. I'm just gonna use someone else's computer so that if my identity is stolen, their identity is stolen. Is that a picture of Rick on your up there? Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know who it is off the top of my head. One's the soccer player. I don't know who's in the boxing picture. My man has a friend that draws artwork, draws draws athletes as portraits, and he sells them. So they're pretty good. He just gave them to me a while ago. I don't even know who they are, honestly. Um, being serious. All right, Daryl Morey's a chess guy. Daryl Morey doesn't play chess with the Sixers. He still plays checkers, in my opinion. Friday night, friggin' Night Stalker. What? The Night Stalker? That's not the Night Stalker up there. No. Cowboy schedule: Browns, Saints, Ravens, Giants, Steelers, Lions, bye, Winers, Falcons. Okay, so the Cowboys could lose in, generally speaking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's about 7 losses on their there's 6 to 8 losses on their schedule, just like I think there's 5 to 7 potential losses on the Eagles' schedule. The potential. Okay, just throwing it out there. Also, how many times do the NFC East get one back to back? Somehow we're turning this into tomorrow's topic of the NFC East, which I'm not prepared to do today, but we will. Because that's what we do here. We go with what the conversation does. So you want to steal my conversation for tomorrow? I see that they could lose 2 of their first 3, maybe 1 of their first 3. We'll go one of their first. They'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They'll go 4-1 to start. Then they'll lose the Lions Winers games. So that's 3 losses. They'll beat the Falcons. They'll lose to the Eagles. If the Texans is home, they'll win it. If it's on the road, they'll lose it. They'll beat the Commanders once. I think the Commanders are going to be sneaky better than people realize. Bengals are on the fence. If they beat the Falcons, they lose to the Bucks. That's how I have the Eagles. I'm splitting those 2 games there. I don't think the Cowboys are as good as people think. And the drama that's going on with the Cowboys, with CeeDee Lamb, with Dak Prescott's contract, I think there's an opportunity here for the Eagles fans to be really happy with a Cowboys complete and total collapse this year. I think it's possible. I don't see 7. I see 5 to 7 losses there. Yes. The record doesn't tell. The record of a sports team doesn't always tell the story. The story that's being told right now is that this is a bad baseball team. Plain and simple. Wooder Dogs 2-8, 5 1-goal losses. See, you're making excuse. See, you're saying the record doesn't tell the whole story because they've had 5 of those 8 losses by 1 goal. So it tells you that they're close. The record don't tell you what the Phillies are going. Eagles need to sweep the division, go undefeated at home. Go Birds, the real RMP. I don't know if they'll sweep the division. It's hard to do it. At best, at worst, they'll be 4-2. They'll sweep the Giants. And I think Washington, depending on their quarterback situation, and how Daniels plays with Dan Quinn, are going to be a better team. They have talent. It's just questionable with a rookie quarterback. My biggest concern with Washington is because Washington could potentially mirror Houston of last year. A new defensive-minded head coach, a lot of talented players, and a rookie quarterback. And I don't think their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, is going to be as good as C.J. Stroud was, but there is talent there. So I can see Washington putting up a fight in the NFC East against their division rivals, 5-6. I'm going to go 5-7. That's just me. But, Morey loves Fabiano. And are they the best chess players right now? I'm not up on my chess knowledge right now. Yes, I used to be part of the chess club and stuff like that. And I've told the story of me whooping my employees' asses in chess because they don't think I know how to play. But, did I ever tell the story where my wife wanted to learn chess after the Queen's Gambit came out? So I taught her. But I taught her by whooping her ass in 6 straight games. She's like, "You're not going to let me win?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to let you win." She had never played before. And I beat her every single time just to prove a point. The Cowboys have been brilliant in the regular season for a few years now. No reason to expect them they won't be again. Well, you got a lame duck quarterback. Your star wide receiver hasn't reported yet, to my knowledge, hasn't signed his deal yet. Micah Parsons isn't happy. They got some offensive line issues. They got some defensive trenches issues as well. I think the Cowboys are primed to be a team. Well, ESPN put up like some article, and I don't pay for ESPN Plus, so I couldn't read it. The title was 5 teams that are going to take a step back in 2024. And they put the Eagles as the prime name there for the clicks and all. And no offense, I'm not trying to be homerish. Are less likely to take a step back in 2024 than the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are much more likely to fall backwards this year because of all the drama that has surrounded them. Jerry Jones isn't doing anything to bring that team together. He's splitting and fracturing that team as much as possible. Hell, Mike McCarthy could be on the hot. Mike McCarthy might end up being one of the first coaches fired. Is the Queen Gambit any good? Queen's Gambit's a great show. Yes, there's a lot of chess. There's drugs. There's deceit. There's a little bit of everything in that. It was a really good show. Played really. I forget the actress's name that played it, but it was an excellent show. And as a guy that grew up playing a lot of chess, it was fun for that aspect too. Never on that level though. I was never that good. Yes. Yeah. We were so shit last year. How can we take us? Exactly. The ESPN saying the Eagles are going to take a step back by adding Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Devin White to the defense and Quinion Mitchell, which I want to talk Quinion Mitchell for a second. In a second, they added Saquon Barkley to the offense that was already elite. And that's the question of the day. How elite and how scary can the Eagles offense be? All right, the 3 years with the most points scored for the Eagles offense. 2022, they averaged 28.06 points per game, but there were 17 games. That's why it was not the lowest points per game, but the most overall yards yards per game, or points per game. 2014, the Chip Kelly 10-6 year, they averaged 29.62 points a game. Okay. And in 2017, Super Bowl win, 28.56 points per game. So the 3 biggest offensive outputs this Eagles offense has ever had. Can this offense, with Saquon Barkley now inserted into it, can this Eagles offense topple the Chip Kelly 29.62 points per game on average? Can he? Will he? Will they? I think it's at least in the realm of possibilities. And if the defense has the questions I think they do, they better score 29 points a game, 30 points a game. Just think about that. We're talking about maybe an offense averaging 30 points a game. And I think that there is a legit chance of that. What's up, Mitchie Pooh? Good morning to you. 10 likes, not good enough. Not good enough. Guys, if you're watching this video, hit that like button. That means there's only 6 likes on this video. That's it. Because I've got 4 of those likes. As I always say, I'm always out there liking it as well. Just so you know. Need to force more turnovers to hit 30 points a game. And it's funny you say that. Because in my notes, when I was writing all the offensive numbers down, I wrote right below that, last year we were 27th in turnovers per game. See, it's funny, K1. Sometimes when we're not making jokes, me and you are on the same page. And it's funny that you say that because we do need to create more turnovers. And that goes into good morning, Bruce, Bryce. Bruce, how you doing today? It goes into the Quinion Mitchell conversation that I think plays into this defense and offense a lot. Yeah, we've been talking about it. I'll get back to this in a second. Let me pick this up. Quinion Mitchell yesterday opened practice as the number 2 cornerback opposite on the outside of Darius Slay. Vic Fangio said something the other day when he spoke. In his mind, he would wish Quinion could just be a cornerback and not a slot guy. And Isaiah Rodgers had pretty much started on the outside for like 10, 12 straight practices after Keely Ringo had a few. Is Quinion Mitchell pushing himself into the starting outside quarterback role? I mean, the Quinion Mitchell versus A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith battles has been one of the most awesome parts of camp so far. And Quinion's got that dog in him where it doesn't affect him. And he's battling nonstop against two of the most elite wide receivers in football. Quinion Mitchell is Isaiah Rodgers, is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, if healthy, going to create more turnovers so this offense can put up close to 30 points a game. You can't be 27th in the league in turnovers per game and expect to win a lot of football games. They have to be better. I use jokes as a form of a gambit. Yeah. Breaks, pump breaks. We still need to see this offense face and adjust. Absolutely. Per McLean, in practice, the offense stalled against zero and exotic blitz. They did what, 2 practices ago? Yes, they did. They did. The offense still has been very good in practice. And yes, Fred, I get it. Pump the brakes. It's practice. We haven't seen the starters at all in the preseason. We won't see them on Saturday, obviously. And yeah, I get it. The pump the brakes thing. I understand that. I do. And Bruce, back to you. Yes, we've talked about the Phillies game, and again, it's 3 a.m. and I must be dreaming because Rob Thomson is pushing me into such a negative note. How many Matchbox 20 references can I get into one cliche about Rob Thomson? Rob Thomson is failing Phillies Nation right now. If you go bring back one of Fletch or Kelsey for one more year, who would you choose? That is one insanely difficult question. All right? Insanely difficult question. Because one, you're talking about Fletcher Cox, a borderline Hall of Famer, but somebody in a position of need. The defensive line is lacking depth. And he played at an elite level last year. Or Fletcher or Jason Kelsey, who is probably one of the greatest centers of all time. But there seems to be a really solid replacement in Cam Jurgens for them. So maybe they don't need Cam Jurgens. But if you bring back Kelsey, then you can put Cam Jurgens back to right guard. And that fixes that hole. That is make the already great offense better or help the defense become better. Sounds like a poll question. Sounds like a poll question, Mitchie Poo. Kelsey or Cox? Writing that down. Writing it down. I would choose Fletch. I think it would be maybe the smart decision. It might be. Because you're weaker on the defensive line than the offensive line. But we do lack depth on the offensive line. Man. Make a A- D offense an A+ offense. Or take a C+ defense and maybe turn it into a B. That's a tough one. Real tough. We need a manager with the personality of Joe Frazier, as Frazier took no prisoners and he liked to demolish his opponent and always demand the best of himself and his team. Yeah, I mean, we need something. The offense needs something. The Phillies need something. I don't know what it is, but Rob Thomson isn't giving this team the answers to turn shit around. And I'm telling you, tonight, Bruce, against the Braves with Aaron Nola on the mound is must win. But all of a sudden, if the Braves get to within 5 games in the division, now they're going to start really putting some pressure on the Phillies. We're in deep doo-doo. We are. It's crash and burn time. Bruce would choose Kelsey over Cox. Yeah, I can't make up my mind on that. I'm kind of right down the middle on this one here. Right down the middle on this one. Not sure which way I would go. Man. Does Jurgens fix the right guard hole? The O-line couldn't beat blitz last year. I'm going Fletch. Need Jalen to be the leader on blitz recognition. Look, The offensive line, and it's funny you say this, that they couldn't beat the blitz last year. I've said this many a times on my show, Fred, that the offensive line, and I was a very this might be my most controversial take of all time. The offensive line's a little overrated the last couple years. They're great in run blocking, but they're a lot worse in pass protection than people realize. And a lot of the pass protection issues last year were there the year before in 2022, but Jalen Hurts was healthy and was able to avoid the blitz. What was the Lane Johnson? He went 2 million snaps in a row without giving up a sack. It was some insane number. Well, how many sacks would he have given up if Tanner McKee or Kenny Pickett, with 2 bricks for feet, was standing back there? How many times did Jalen Hurts evade a pass rusher that Lane Johnson, let by? And I'm not picking on Lane Johnson specifically here. The whole offensive line struggles in pass protection. But stout you, no, it's Jalen Hurts. It's Jalen Hurts' ability to avoid. And last year they couldn't beat the blitz because Jalen Hurts was hurt the entire season. I swear. And I know everyone picks different games where they think Bryce or Jalen Hurts got hurt. The Rams game or, one of those. I say he got hurt in game 1 against the Patriots. He took a bad hit when he tried to shake a runner or shake a defender. You saw his knee bend a little bit. And ever since then, he was bad. And that is why we couldn't beat the blitz last year, because he wasn't as mobile. People think I'm nuts when I say this. And Stout U is great. I mean, what Stoutland did to get Jordan Mailata to an all-pro level is Hall of Fame worthy. It's movie script worthy. The Rock could play Jordan Mailata, literally. They're probably related somehow. But the O-line in pass protection is massively overrated and has been for a long time. And now you're taking Kelsey, who was the lone guy that called out all the blitz protections, whether right or wrong, and you're replacing him with Cam Jurgens. So that's why I do lean slightly towards Cox over Kelsey, because at least that would solve that issue or that concern that I have. Phil, I feel we need to make sure Hurts has a good year, because if he doesn't, we won't have a good year no matter what. So I say Kelsey. I think Kelsey and Hurts, go ahead. I can't disagree with that. We do need to make sure. Well, we all need to make sure Jalen Hurts has a good season. Jalen Hurts has to make sure he has a good season. And the better offensive line makes that happen. Fred, I mean, I've gotten a lot of flack for saying that over the years. Calling out the offensive line as much as I have. It's not my craziest take, but people think it's one of my crazy takes. Yeah, exactly. Well, K1, you've been watching long enough to know. This is not the first time I've talked about the Eagles' offensive line being a bigger question mark than people want to admit it over the last 3-4 years. It's been a problem. Jalen's legs were huge for 20. See, I'm glad I'm bringing more people in to see it the way I see it. And that's just plain and simple, in my opinion. I don't follow the all 22s. I don't follow the analytics and the percentages like people. I follow my eyes and my gut and my instincts and 30 plus years of really digesting football, 40 years of watching football. And my eye test has told me for a long time that Jalen Hurts' legs make the offensive line look a lot better than they do. And in turn, when his legs aren't working, like most of last year, you see kinks in the armor. Now this year might be different because you have Saquon Barkley back there. You have Saquon Barkley, who can pick up and pass protection very well. He's going to run the ball more than they did with DeAndre Swift or Miles Sanders the year before that. You still have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So maybe you could protect Jalen's legs a little bit more, but also confuse defenses a little more to make the pass protection better. And that's also part of pass protection. And the offensive line looking good versus bad. Yes, Jalen Hurts' legs make the offense look better, the offensive line look better. But a proper offensive scheme like we had under Shane Steichen versus what we had last year under Brian Johnson changes the appearance of how the offensive line performs. You're going to see a lot of motion this year with Kellen Moore. We've already seen it. And we've already heard all the reports from training camp of all the motion, pre-snap motion. That makes pass protection easier. That makes the job of the offensive lineman easier. That also might pad their analytic stats a little bit more. If they're getting rid of the ball in 3 to 4 seconds versus 7 seconds, it will make the offensive line look better than they are. It's a whole unit, the offense. Yeah, I said unit. Our OC and DCs were trash. Look, they were, right? Well, I just one eye because this eye's no good. But, so the single eye test, that's right. I agree on that point regarding Jalen. Look, Jalen Hurts, man. We live and breathe with how Jalen Hurts goes, and I get that. He is the offense. We have great weapons around him. We hope to have better coaches around him. We hope to have a better system around him. But we all go where Jalen Hurts goes. No matter who's the center. No matter who's the starting cornerback. No matter who's the starting safety. What up, little G? I think that Moore's offense might also change the amount of time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kellen Moore's offense is going to be drastically different than what we've seen the last 3 or 4 years under the last couple offense coordinators. And the motion, the pre-snap motion, will be the first indication of that. What they do with Saquon Barkley is another thing. Look, Kellen Moore loves to run. I mean, when Kellen Moore was in Dallas, he was, splitting the ball between a healthier Zeke and Tony Pollard a lot. They were both running the ball a lot. You see a lot of long drives, a lot of offensive plays. Desai was so bad he was fired twice. Was he fired twice? Yeah, fired midseason and again at the end of the season. Absolutely. The confidence I have in the Eagles also resonates because last year going into the season, I had zero confidence in Desai and Brian Johnson entering the season. And Marshawn, I was very critical of those hiring decisions. The hiring decisions this year, well, I'm not a huge Kellen Moore fan, mainly because of his Cowboys ties. The offense and defense coordinator hires this season made a lot more sense for what the Eagles are trying to do. And the hiring of, Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio brings some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some credence. So when they speak, the players will listen. When they break a play down in the film room, people will listen. When Vic Fangio says you've had a bad practice, people will listen and play harder or practice harder. Chargers didn't have a great O-line, and Herbert looked good until he didn't. Dallas O-line was in decline when Moore was OC, but they did well in protecting Dak. Yeah. Like, I'm pulling some of my Kellen Moore opinions from his time in Dallas and LA, but I think Kellen Moore has a lot more talent now than he did in LA or Dallas even. So I'm thinking that Kellen Moore should be even better or more successful this year. Temper your expectation. Well, I mean, you're not wrong there, Marshawn. We are. I mean, you've yourself said it in the comments before about, who will let us down first or who will let us down first, before. When I talk about all sports. So, yeah, I get it. Temper expectations. And that's why I'm not predicting a 15-2 win season. I'm not guaranteeing a Super Bowl at this point. I might predict them in the Super Bowl just because why not? Yeah, I did bet them to win the Super Bowl because the odds were great. But that all being said, there's still a lot to prove. A lot of players and coaches and the team as a whole have a lot to prove this year. To prove that 2022 wasn't an anomaly, that this team really is good. The talent is there. The coaches are there now. Now they just got to go out and execute. Will they? We won't know until we can project, we can predict, We could give our opinions on what we think will happen. But till it goes out and happens, we don't know. The city of quantitative easy. It's a big word for me, quantitative. Every year is a letdown, Phil. It sucks being a fan at this point. Well, you got two options, Marshawn. Don't be a fan. Be a fugazi and go become a fan of the Boston Celtics and go become a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. That's option one. Option two is it's just part of who we are, and embrace it. Because when you embrace the letdowns, the successes taste so much better. When I cried, a grown-ass man crying when the Phillies won a World Series, when the Eagles won their Super Bowl, I legitimately think I may have had a heart attack. I know it skipped a beat or two. I did collapse. And it wasn't alcohol or anything like that. Makes the victories so much sweeter. So you've got two options. Go find some new teams to be fans of, and I'll call you a fugazi for that. Or B, embrace the letdowns so that when the wins happen, they taste so much sweeter. That's what I do. I embrace City of Brotherly Letdown. Is that going to be the new play? You want to go letdown on three? All right, do it. They should call that a play. The City of Brotherly Letdown should be an audible at the line of scrimmage. But you know a great audible you can make is when you go and you want tickets to a sporting event. Don't go to the sites that you know. Go to sherrytickets.com. Call an audible. They have great prices, no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay, and it's a family-owned and operated company since 1946. Sports tickets, concert tickets, theater tickets, you name it, they've got it. Go to their website, sherrytickets.com, pick out the tickets to your event you want, and use promo code EOP10. On top of their great prices and no hidden fees, you'll save an additional 10% off. Again, why overpay with the rest? Save with the best. Sherrytickets.com, promo code EOP10. And I know, but without even looking, I know the comments are going to have a comment on the segue. When I am president, I will bring down the cost of pizzas. Come on. Yeah. Is that what it is? Did she say that? I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, I knew there'd be a couple segue comments on that one right there. Selling us letdowns? No. They're just selling you the tickets because you're embracing the potential for the letdown. Marshawn, that is what you're doing. Just going to say. I thought that was next level. Next level segue right there. So, anyway, back to the Eagles offense, back to the Eagles defense, whatever you want to talk about. Back to the Phillies for Bryce, and everybody else that wants to talk about the Phillies. No one's commenting on my little subheader down here. Give me a baseball coach from a movie that you'd prefer to coach the Phillies than Rob Thomson right now. I mean, I went with Lou Brown right off the bat. That's my quintessential first guy I go to when I need a baseball manager. Oh, well, thank you, Eric. Good morning to you. Next level. I don't know about next level. I'm something, though. We are spoiled for segues on the show. Nobody pulls out a segue like I do. Just like nobody pulls a segue like I do, like Philly Sports Trips. Nobody does sports trips like phillysportstrips.com. Go to their website, sign up, phillysportstrips.com, mention EOP and Trending in the AM when you sign up on their website. Obviously, the trip to Brazil in about 2 weeks is sold out, but they got other great trips that you can do, spring training trips, the Union, and, of course, all the other Birds takeover trips to Tampa, to New York to see Saquon Barkley head back to face the Giants for the first time, down to Baltimore, bus trip to Baltimore, the new treatment I'm working on, and, of course, takeover of Dallas, November 10th. F Dallas. Dallas stinks. Dallas sucks. That would be the trip of all trips right there. Guys, phillysportstrips.com. Make sure you're not missing out on any of those opportunities there. If given the power, I would make the Hawaiian pizza illegal, forcing tourism and addicts into Canada. Is that right? Look, that would hurt my business. I sell a lot of Hawaiian pizzas. That's what happens when you're in Kennett Square, which is really, Mexico City North. You know what I mean? So Lou Brown of course. I mean, Lou Brown is greater than Rob Thomson at this point. Hence a little header underneath my name or sub header down there. That's just the way it is. Under on the cherry bomb. I mean, I just bagged out 2 really quickly there. So I gotta wait. And I don't know what the under is, so anyone that eats Hawaiian pizza should be on a government watch list. I can make a really insensitive joke, Davey. So you'll have to DM me for that joke because I will not say the very insensitive joke I can make about that. Piling them up quickly. I just wanted to, I wanted to prove that the segues are real. They are. At least Lou Brown will show some emotion. Hey, he'll fake a heart attack. Well, no, he had a real heart attack in Major League 2. Right now, I feel the Phillies right now are doing the reverse Lou Brown. Rob Thompson's in the dugout with the cardboard cutout of the model, of the owner. And he's peeling pieces off as they lose games versus win games. Or it's a cardboard cutout of John Middleton. And he tells the Phillies, I'm going to pull a piece of John Middleton's suit off every time you guys win a game. That's what Rob Thomson is doing. He's doing the reverse Lou Brown. He's got a picture of John Middleton, and he's pulling off a piece every single time they win. Hence why they're not winning. Just going to say. Because nobody want to see what's under that toupee. Taking the under on that, I don't know. Morris, Buttermaker. I thought about putting Buttermaker in my subheader. Buttermaker is greater. Drunk Buttermaker is better than Rob Thomson. I thought about that one. I wanted to think about, I couldn't think of the name of the movie, the kids movie, where the kid's grandfather dies and he takes over ownership. I think it's the Minnesota Twins or the Detroit Tigers. And then he makes himself the coach and as well. I was thinking of him. I was thinking of Danny Glover from Angels in the Outfield. They were the managers I was going to. But of course, Lou Brown is Lou Brown for a reason. Selling tires or selling brake pads and then coaching a team to the playoffs. Philly will help your business. You can now overcharge because it's now illicit. Okay, gotcha. I got to sell the Hawaiian pizzas out the back door for cash. Bad news bears those who know. Yeah, well, I think most people do. He's went over 2 days in a row. Odds are he has to go under eventually. The more you talk about it, if you've got money on the under, that means I'm going to hit the over. You know what's going to really piss you off right when the under's about to hit? I'm going to not read it. I'm going to read the Dolan's Bar ad instead. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to really mess with you. I want to see if Jalen goes through his reads faster than last season. And I hope Kellen Moore implements some 3-step passing plays. First, on the second part of that, I think you will see more 3-step passing plays. I think you'll see more quick offense. And I know the preseason games, Michael. Sorry, I'm sidetracked by Big Al's comment down here. I love it. I love it. It's a great Lou Brown quote right there. Love it. Fantastic. Sorry. Right back to Michael's comment here. The 3-step passing plays, I think even though the offense is very vanilla in the preseason, you've seen, especially with Kenny Pickett's 3-yard passes constantly, you see a quicker attempt to get rid of the ball already in the preseason games. And that's what the reports are from training camp. A lot of quick passes, a lot of quick shorter routes and let the wide receivers get space after the catch. So I think that is a lot to happen. Now, can Jalen Hurts go through his reads faster than last season? It depends. It depends on the confidence that Jalen Hurts has in the offensive line. It depends on the success of the offensive line. Then, in my opinion, most quarterbacks that make it to the NFL can read defenses probably a little better than we give them credit for. You don't get to the NFL without being able to read a defense in college. Okay? The problem is when you can't read a defense fast enough and get through your progressions. I think I would put it 6 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10. It's because you don't have the confidence in your offensive line to keep you upright long enough to get to your third read, to get to your fourth read. Now, if you go one read and then you take off, that's one thing. But if you go 1, 2, and then you take off, you just don't have the confidence to wait for the third because your offensive line. I think the reading of the you're getting through your reads has a lot to do with the offensive line. And again, I don't think people understand that. I wish Freddie Burns was still in the comments because I think he would know what I'm getting at. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. It's not a fix. It's whatever I want. Well, so that's 12 likes because, again, 4 from me. Come on. We've had some weeks where we've gotten over 20 lately. Come on. Let's go. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Alvarado or Alvarez. Jose, it's Alvarado, not Alvarez. 34 pitches and his bumbling full manager leaves him in. Look, Jose Alvarado should not see a single outing except for 10-1 ninth innings when you're, instead of putting Garrett Stubbs out there, you put Jose Alvarado in there. That's where his confidence is. I wrote it down. In the month of July, he had an 8.31 ERA. In the month of August, it's massively better. It's 5.87 after last night. So the guy's got like a 7 ERA over the last 2 months. And you're going to put him in the 8th inning, Michael, of a 1-run game? And then see that he doesn't have his stuff and leave him out there for 6 batters, which he walks 4 of? That is on Jose Alvarado for not pitching well enough, but it's on Rob Thomson for putting Alvarado out there to begin with. Again, the players got to play, but the coaches got to put you in a position to succeed. And Rob Thomson doesn't do that. I don't understand this. If they lose tonight, they can't do this. Tonight is a must-win game for the Phillies. And let me tell you something. If they go out there and lose because of incompetence from Rob Thomson, tomorrow's it. Like, tomorrow it's on. It's on. Like Donkey Kong tomorrow on Rob Thomson. You think I've been critical of Rob Thomson? Let him go out there and make another bad decision tonight. Tomorrow's going to be 10 times worse. I would almost rather, if they're going to lose, it's because Aaron Nola gives up 12 runs. Because at least then I could just say, Aaron Nola didn't have his shit. We have gone way past being concerned about the Phillies, lack of hitting, choking bullpen. There's a real possibility that their lead in the NL East is gone by the end of the month. Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's would be better. Yeah, I mean, Lou Brown is who I want, but yeah, Bernie. I mean, that's what Rob Thomson is. He's a lifeless manager. But again, everybody loves Rob Thomson. You can't say anything negative about Rob Thomson or you don't know baseball. Dude, there's some trolls. Some might even watch this show. I know they follow me on Twitter. And they just love to say, I hate Rob Thomson. No, I just call a spade a spade. I see it, and I call it as I see it. And Rob Thomson is a problem and has been since day one. We win despite Rob Thomson. The best part of a pizza is the cheese. Any topping that overpowers the cheese is a no-go. Pineapple is too sour. Mister, I just love a good cheese pizza. Yeah, I get toppings on it, but nothing beats it when I make the first slice pie of the day and I pull that first cheese slice off just to sample it because I got to sample the product every day. Nothing beats that first slice of pizza out of the oven for every day. I love it. Just a good cheese slice of pizza, man. You're spot on with this one. I feel this way about the toppings overpowering the cheese. I feel that way about ham. I feel that way about black olives. I don't like pineapple, period, so I would never even try it. But those are the toppings that I'm like that with. You want the Phil Sillers just for the Phil rant? I mean, it's good for business, right? It's good. Rants are good for business. Bad for fans, but great. Hey, negativity is great for content, right, K1? I mean, let's be honest. I wasn't getting poached to work for bigger networks like EOP when the Phillies and Eagles were going to World Series and Super Bowls. I was getting poached when they were losing. And I was putting out great content on that. Now, we don't do clickbait stuff very often, but Just going to say. Just wondering where Strom and Hoffman are. There are two all-star relievers. Look, they both gave up a run on Sunday, but you had Monday off. So I don't want to hear that they needed another. You were in a must-win series. You go out there and you put Jose Alvarado in the eighth instead of Hoffman, instead of Strom. Make it make sense. I don't know. Rob Thomson is greater than Dick Sirianni. I don't know who Dick Sirianni is, but Nick Sirianni, I don't know. Who do you have more confidence in to turn it around? Nick Sirianni to turn around last year's Eagles disaster, or Rob Thomson to turn around this year's impending collapse? Where's your confidence more in right now? I'm more confident in Nick Sirianni than Rob Thomson. Both have had success. Both are playoffs every year. Both have had a championship run. I'm much more confident in Nick Sirianni today, August 21st, than I am in Rob Thomson. Cheese is a classic and will never go out of style. Everything else is a nicety. Your cheese pizza is crap. Then more than likely the rest of your pies aren't great. I think sauce plays a bigger role than people think. Having the dough cooked the right way so you don't have the gum line matters. But yeah, great cheese is very important. Phil, would you allow K1F8 to sponsor you with his? I don't even know what K1F8 is. So I don't know. Maybe, sure. But I'll let anybody sponsor me. I don't know who K1F8 is, but I'll let anybody sponsor me. Dick Sirianni is Nick's bowling. Is it? Is that what it is? You know, I bet you Dick Sirianni is basically David Archeri in disguise. If you need a lawyer in the state of Pennsylvania, call the best lawyer in the state. Workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law. Call David Archeri, the Cherry Law Firm, 610-565-0300, cherryinjurylaw.com, and let him fight for you and get you what you deserve. He will fight for you. He will get you what you need. Again, give him a call. Make sure you mention EOP, trending in the AM, 610-565-0300, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. I think that was the over, not the under. I was sure, why not? Hey, as long as there's money involved, look, Eric, I'm one of those guys that there's no shame in anything. If there's money involved, what do I always say? Everybody's got a price. Everybody's got a price. Even on something like K1, I would stand here and hold it right here on the screen and say, use this. No problem. No problem. None whatsoever. Nick versus Rob. Confidence. Got more poll questions for today. Yeah, no problem. I have more confidence in Nick because he has two competent coordinators. Yeah, that definitely helps. Kevin Long's supposed to be a competent coordinator as well. Davey, you are overrated. Sorry. Gotta say it. You, my friend, are overrated for saying cheese is overrated. I just love a good old cheese pizza sometimes. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a good old-fashioned cheese pizza. Plain and simple. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. The cherry bombs rolling in. Let's just star all of them. Phil is the man, baby. Hey, look, I don't know. I'm just a man willing to do whatever it takes to make a buck. How about we just call it what we call it? I like making a buck whenever I can. Take a shot. Phil said poll. I didn't say poll. I said poll. There's a P-O-L-E and there's a P-O-L-L. I say P-O-L-L. Everyone needs to be properly. Hey, I used to, back in the day when Manscaped was sponsoring every podcast with their dumbass program that really brings you in nothing in revenue. Yeah, I was out there promoting Manscaped, saying live on shows, your balls will thank you. I said it every single show for God knows how long. No shame. If it's an ad read, it's an ad read. If it pays money, it pays money. No doubt about it. I always thought it was spelled Segway. Well, that's the thing you ride. The Segway spelled that way is what you ride, right? I would bring up Crawford and replace Rojas or Marsh as the Phillies have nothing to lose. They do have something to lose, Michael. They're leading the division. And they are losing that lead in the division as we speak. It is shrinking. And it's frustrating beyond all belief. Is it or just me, or does Rob Thomson remind y'all of Statler and Waldorf, those old men puppets from the Muppet Show? I don't know about that. Because they were grouchy. They showed emotion. Negative emotion, but they showed emotion, mister. Rob Thomson don't show any emotion. Rob Thomson just sits there with his hands in his coat pocket, wearing his winter coat in 98-degree weather. And just hold on. This is what he does. He types on his computer, what should I do right now? He pulls out his phone and says, Google, what should I do? And whatever Google spits out, Google AI spits out, that's what he does. He has no feel for this team or the game right now at all. All right, we're up to 20. Well, there's 24 minutes left in this show. Can we get to 25 YouTube likes? We're at 10 Facebook likes. Maybe we can get to 15 Facebook likes by the end of the show. Phil with $1 Million Man tuxedo shirt, yeah. So we're going on a cruise for New Year's. Wife and I, my sister and her kids, my brother and his kid. We always go to Florida. We're doing a cruise instead. So I'm not getting $1 million. So a cruise for New Year's is one of the greatest parties of the world on New Year's Eve. So we're looking at some really flashy, over-the-top, bold, Seth Rollins level suits, so I could surprise my nieces and nephew and make their New Year's extra memorable by wearing the most outlandish suit. So it's not going to be $1 Million Man tuxedo. It's going to be a Seth Rollins tuxedo. Just wait till the end of the year for those pictures to come out. See, Phil even does ad reads he doesn't get paid for. That's a professional. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no. So spam stuff. We don't share spam. So the Phillies lose the NL East lead and somehow miss the playoffs. Does this go down as a worse choke job than 64 Phillies? Brian, I'm trying to see your picture a little closer. You might have been alive for the 64 Phillies. I wasn't. So I would put this ahead of it because I'm living through it. But this would be here's a more modern version of this question, Brian. Would this go down worse of a choke job than when the Mets choked away their division lead in 07 to the Phillies? Would it? Maybe. He goes on chat. Yeah. Rob Thomson uses Chat GPT to decide how to manage a game. That's really what it feels like. They have nothing to lose production-wise. Is Rojas offensively useless? See, Rojas has been better the last couple weeks. Big picture. Not like 400 hitting better, but he's hitting better. So I'm not as concerned there. Marsh is horrendous right now. I'd rather Scotty Jetpacks up here right now. I suggested it a week ago. What do you got to lose? Bring up Scotty Jetpacks. He's hitting near 300. He's got 20 home runs. He's striking out a shit ton down in AAA, but his average and his OPS and stuff like that are very good. You got nothing to lose. Justin Crawford's a part of the future. I'm not ready to make that move yet with Justin Crawford. I don't want to ruin Justin Crawford yet. I think Justin Crawford will be the starting center fielder in 2 years on this team. But you got to do something. Something that we talked about it, that Stott and Turner and Marsh all need to be benched. He benched Stott for one game, and he benched Turner for one game. And that was supposed to solve all the problems in the world. I believe in Joe Hendry. I mean, actually, I think that's what the poll question will be, Mitchie Poo. It's going to be, who do you have more confidence in right now? Nick Sirianni, Rob Thomson, or Joe Hendry? That's going to be the poll question that I post after this show. I like it. I like it. See the ideas that pop into my head. They're just amazing sometimes. Guys, you're watching Trending the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Like, share, subscribe, follow. Like Mitchie Pooh said, 20 likes on YouTube right now, 10 on Facebook. Hit those like buttons, please. I ask you that, to share, to subscribe wherever you're watching, to follow. It means the world to me. What's the story with airline food? No, what's the story with Austin Hayes? He got banged up. I think it was his hamstring. He is starting a rehab assignment, I believe, today. Nooms. I think they're putting him in a rehab assignment versus just bringing him right back like they did with JT and with everybody else, because they have Weston Wilson. They want to give Weston Wilson maybe 2 more days of starting, because there's a scenario in my mind, Nooms, that when Hayes comes back in 2 or 3 days, by the weekend, your starting outfield will be Nick Castellanos, Austin Hayes, Weston Wilson. That might be your starting lineman, offensive lineman, outfield. See, I'm still stuck with the Eagles' offense. I don't want to talk about the Phillies. The Phillies are talkable, but I don't want to talk about them. So that's why I said offensive lineman. You might have Austin Hayes and Weston Wilson in your outfield at the same time. So they're getting Austin Hayes rehab at bats so they continue to test to see what Weston Wilson for 2 or 3 more games. Who's more incompetent, Rob Thomson or Brett Brown? Man, it's a tough one. At least Rob Thomson got us to 1 World Series. No more story. No more story. The story is over. But what is not over is what 65 years does for you in Delaware County. For 65 plus years, Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park, has been the quintessential Irish American dive bar in Delaware County. Great food, great times, quizzo, music, memorabilia giveaway, celebrities show up. Hell, WIP did their show at Dolan's Bar. Why PJ didn't have us do the show there, but had WIP there, whatever. But DolansBar.com, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Find them. Go in there. Tell PJ and the crew, EOP, Trending in the AM sent you guys. You won't be disappointed about being in Ridley to begin with in Dolan's Bar. And make sure, like I said, guys, you hit that subscribe button on the Edge of Philly Sports Network. 7-day-a-week programming. What's today? Today's Wednesday, right? So, yeah, Philly Press Box Radio tonight. EOP with Philly Press Box Radio with Chet and the gang. EOP Live with Big Al and the gang. And, of course, Phillies postgame show. Not sure who's on the Phillies postgame show call tonight. But, guys, you don't want to miss it. 7-day-a-week programming right here on Edge of Philly Sports. And right back to the comments, which are not. Hold on a second. It's 1:15, hour and 15 minutes into this show. 1:15, 1 hour. That's what the little clock says up there. And I'm caught up on the comments. This might be the soonest I've ever gotten caught up on the comments. I'm shocked. I have left you guys speechless with the Rob Thomson talk today. I've left you guys speechless about questioning the offensive line. I've left you guys speechless with my talk that the Eagles' offense might set the record for most points scored in the history of the Eagles this year. Man, I've left you speechless. Will Zalatoris hype. Hey, I talked about Will Zalatoris last night. Fairway to heaven. You can catch the replay on EOP. 65-1 to win. K1, one of my 4 bets to win the BMW Championship this week for the golfers out there. I've hit 3 straight outrights. So you might want to tally my bets. You might want to match the golfers that I bet. The odds have changed now. Zalatoris isn't 65-1. I think he's 55-1 now. Sam Burns, I got 30-1. Hideki Matsuyama, 18-1. I think he's now down to 14-1. And Victor Hovland, I bet 18-1. I think he's down to 16-1. I got my odds early in the week. But they're my 4 bets this week, K1, for the golf. If you missed last night's show, and I give a better description on Fairway to Heaven last night on why those golfers. I don't know about you guys. I know a lot of you aren't fans of golf at all, let alone even a little bit. But this week on the PGA Tour, the Castle Pines, I think it's called, Castle Pines Golf Club, the longest golf course ever on the PGA Tour, over 8,100 yards. It's going to be interesting. Interesting stuff. I'm in Ocean City about to go fishing. Maybe I will catch an outfielder. Yeah, is that what why don't you throw a line in for a manager? Someone that knows how to coach. Somebody that knows baseball. That's what you should be looking for. We need Phil to do a Happy Gilmore swing. I would literally throw my back out if I even tried that, Mitchie Poo. My back would be shot. I'd be doing this show lying in bed flat on my back if I tried. But as I said last night on Fairway to Heaven, next week's the last week of golf. So next week's the last week of a weekly Fairway to Heaven show. But what I want to do is a special off-season Fairway to Heaven where we talk about the best golf movies of all time. And surprisingly, there's a lot of great golf movies out there. Obviously, Happy Gilmore being the best. I was in Philly yesterday, took the back roads through the Badlands to get to Betsy Ross. Those people drive crazy. I hate city driving, mister. I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. We've been talking about getting a good outfielder for months now. They seem to be out of the season. Look. Man. Austin Hayes is supposed to be that better outfielder. He is supposed to improve. And he's played okay. He hasn't really moved the needle, and then he got hurt. So we'll see coming down the stretch. But my confidence meter is at an all-time low with the Phillies. It's weird because my confidence meter is at an all-time high with the Eagles. Even though I see the question marks, I'm much more confident in the Eagles at this point. Caddyshack is the Citizen Kane of golf movie. Caddyshack will be discussed. Caddyshack will be. Tin Cup will be. It was the one with Matt Damon and Will Smith. There's quite a few. And so I thought about golf movies in general because, Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out. And because Mitchie Poo just keeps asking for me to swing like Happy, and I just can't. Like, I think Mitchie Poo really wants to see me get hurt because he keeps asking. I keep telling him that my back will literally crumble into a pile of ash if I swing that hard. But yeah. That's that right there. Guys, things we've talked about today and things I want to pick up tomorrow. We talked about the offense, but how the offense needs to be set up by the defense with turnovers. But something I keep thinking about, and I touched on it a little bit today, but when we talk defense tomorrow in a little bit more detail, Quinion Mitchell's going to play. He's going to be on the field 75% of the snaps or more as soon as the season starts. But just like I've kind of hinted at, and I might talk about this as well tomorrow, that was VCP1 of the day, that Nakobe Dean might be playing himself into a starting role. Is Quinion Mitchell playing himself into the position of cornerback 2? Is it? Is he? He's the one going one-on-one with Brown and Smitty every single day in practice. Now he's lining up in 11 on 11s in the slot. But yesterday they lined him opposite of Slay on the outside. And as Cooper DeJean gets himself ready, and Cooper DeJean won't be ready week 1 to be a major contributor. But once Cooper DeJean is ready to be the slot corner, will we see Slay and Quinion Mitchell? And I know I hinted at a Darius Slay trade yesterday, and it seems like the rumor mills with the Steelers are floating around on Darius Slay. It would be silly for them to trade Darius Slay, probably, especially with the cap hit implications. But are we turning into a scenario where Quinion Mitchell will be the outside guy? And I really think so. And we need to improve being that 27th in turnovers a game like we were last year. Quinion Mitchell gives you that best opportunity. Quinion Mitchell might be the best rookie or one of the most impactful rookies in the first round that we've had over a while. I'm trying to think of the last, decade. Obviously, Devontae Smith was very effective right from the get-go. But all the other first-round rookies, Jalen Carter was impactful for a while, then fell off. Jordan Davis is impactful in short bursts. Devontae Smith majorly. And just going back through all these first-round picks, Quinion Mitchell might have the chance to be up there as one of the most impactful rookies the last 20 years of the Philadelphia Eagles. And you love to see it. Unfortunately, it feels more like the Thomson thing is more about players doing policing than it is about X's and O's and technicality. I'm sorry, I don't understand that. I don't understand what you're trying to get at there. The players are policing themselves, so they're not so then they're failing as in the policing of themselves. If I'm understanding this right, then what I'm reading it as is the players are failing to police themselves. and Rob Thompson's X's and O's are fine. See, I think it's both. They aren't policing themselves. There is no leader standing up in that locker room. On the flip side, the X's and O's, Rob Thompson is failing in the X and O's. Putting Jose Alvarado out there is a big mistake. Not pinch hitting in the 9th inning on Sunday. Twice. Big mistakes. So they're failing in the policing department, Nooms, but they're also failing in the X's and O's and technicality. We haven't had a real ball hawk in the secondary since Asante. We haven't had a real ball hawk cornerback since Asante. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson did lead the league in interceptions, even missing 5 games in 2022. So he's kind of that ball hawk. But at cornerback, yeah, Quinion Mitchell might be it. I'm seeing, and I've seen it since I've seen the tape on him. Like, remember when the draft happened? I'm like, I didn't even know much about Quinion Mitchell because every report I read had him going way before the Eagles would draft. In my mind, Quinion Mitchell was never on my board because there was zero chance that Quinion Mitchell could be drafted. But then as soon as I started watching the guy, I saw nothing but superstar written all over him. And the guy's going to be good. Everyone's like, well, he came from Toledo. He's going to need time to adjust to the big time. No. If you've watched, read, listened, read it, seen anything about his battles with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Quinion Mitchell is ready for the big time right now. The reason why he is here is for all that. Oh, Rob Thompson's here for the policing and the X's and O's. Well, he's fouling all over the place, Nooms. If Quinion Mitchell is a shutdown cornerback, the quarterback will avoid throwing his way. Should be plenty of opportunities for interceptions for Slay. If Quinion Mitchell, excuse me, is a shutdown cornerback, this will help our defensive line get after. Why do we have 70 sacks in 2022? Because Darius Slay and James Bradbury and Quinion and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson played at all pro levels. The secondary played all pro. Gave the defensive line, Hassan Reddick, the opportunity to get those sacks. All plays together. All goes together. It does. So there's that. But that's going to be on the agenda tomorrow. Of course, tonight's Phillies game will be on the agenda tomorrow. Secondary questions. Jalen Mills, we touched on it once already. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Is Jalen Mills, we talked about Hector Neris and the Phillies rehashing that story. Do we want the Jalen Mills story rehashed? I'm still concerned about the secondary. Outside of a couple of them. Are we assuming Mitchell has won that job? We are not assuming that at all. In theory, Mitchell or Rodgers has already won that job. But yesterday, them making that switch with 2 practices remaining yesterday and today and putting Quinion out there with Darius Slay tells me they're at least considering it or they're building up to it. I mean, Vic Fangio said in his last press conference, well, 2 press conferences ago, Vic Fangio said, cornerbacks are cornerbacks, slot is slot, that they're 2 different positions. And he said in his last presser, Quinion Mitchell in his ideal world would be a cornerback and a cornerback only, which means Quinion Mitchell would be on the outside starting opposite of Darius Slay. And I think, you read through the lines, that's what Vic Fangio wants. We'll see if he gets there or not. He's also shutting down A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith at times in one-on-ones in practice. So I'm not going against the second stringers. I'm going against what I'm reading in practice. Yes, it's practice, I know. Don't forget about Daryl Morey chest clip. I'm going to try to catch it. Can't guarantee it. It's not on the top list of my agenda today. The 30 Big Daddy party pizzas that I got to make at 4 o'clock. That's above the Daryl Morey thing on my priority list. The new employee training I got to do today for a new employee I hired. That's on the priority list over Daryl Morey's chest clips, just so you know. Citizen Kane is the Citizen Kane of sled movies. Oh, my goodness gracious. Cool Runnings. Come on now. Who doesn't love Jamaican bobsled man? Come on now. Who doesn't love John Candy training bobsledders from Jamaica? I haven't even thought of that movie in ages. John Candy one of the greatest comedic actors of all time? Is John Candy greater than Chris Farley? I don't know. One was big in the 80s, one was big in the 90s. They both passed away far too young. They were both very big physical actors. Their presence loomed large. John Candy or Chris Farley? It is one of the tough questions in the comedy movie circles, just so you know. It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. You're doing just fine. It's all in the hips. You know what's all in the hips? This show. And I love this show, guys, and I appreciate another great episode of Trending in the AM today, guys. Guys, please, the Replay Gang, like, share, subscribe, follow. If you're subscribed to EOP, make sure you subscribe to my personal page linked below as well. Guys, we're here every single day. The only way we get this better and bigger and bolder and get those K18, promotional, sponsorships. We share this show out. The more people, the more sponsors we can get. The more views, the more sponsors we can get, guys. So do me that favor. Like, share, subscribe. I need you to do it. I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. There's my German knowledge for the day. What is the movie where John Candy tells his friend's wife to find herself a spin cycle? I forget which one that is. Uncle Buck probably, or is it? It's an Uncle Buck or Into the Great North or Wild. I don't want to be a part of Phil's hips. It's all in the hips, Mitchy Poo. It's all in the hips. Is it Uncle? It's either Uncle Buck or the other one with Dan Aykroyd, but it's probably Uncle Buck. Feel for Rodgers. He's worked his butt off to make it back to the NFL. Maybe he could start next year. Stay ready. Look, no. First, back up. It's still Rodgers is still the starter. Week 1. Rodgers is more of an outside than an inside guy. Cooper DeJean isn't ready for the slot. Keely Ringo's more situated outside. I just think big picture, eventually you will see Quinion starting over Rodgers. Great Outdoors or Summer Rental. Great Outdoors is such a great movie. It really is. But, Tommy Boy and Black Sheep and everything Chris Farley did was gold as well. Chris Farley. We'll bring this up tomorrow. Do your research today, guys. John Candy or Chris Farley. I'm writing it down so I don't forget. John Candy versus Farley. Wow. I got 3 different poll with an LL comments or polls for tomorrow. The fact that he's fighting against a first-round rookie for cornerback 2 tell you everything about him and Mitchell's talent. Yeah, I think it tells you more about Mitchell's talent than it does about what Rodgers is doing. That's just my opinion. But we're going to get into the defense a little bit more tomorrow. We'll go defense tomorrow. Plus Vic Fangio, not Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore speaks today. We'll talk about a little bit of that as well. But guys, please, I hope the Phillies win. I hope so. I hope I can have an ounce of Phillies positivity tomorrow. But we'll see. Guys, you've watched Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports today. Again, like, share, subscribe. Find me at Beard of Knowledge. We're back tomorrow, 8 a.m. with another episode, guys. Ring that bell. Go Birds. Bubbles up to you.